Hey guys, welcome back to Safe Travel RV. We are in Clinton, Missouri at a Harvest Host. It's a winery. We're here for one night, but we are on our way to Yellowstone National Park. Now we started in Atlanta, Georgia, and we've come all the way through Arkansas into Missouri, and we still have to go up through Iowa, Nebraska, and then we're going to come across South Dakota. Well, as you know, we are in Tornado Alley. So if you've been following my channel, you know that I installed a Starlink system on top of my RV, and it's been working flawlessly. But I wanted to be able to protect it from hailstorm damage, so I installed a clear shield over the top of it. And I'm going to show you how I did that. So let's go back to my garage and I'll show you how we did that. So the first thing you want to do is get some 1x, and I mean a solid 1 inch by 3.5 inch PVC. You can also use maybe some PVC brick mold, but my dish is 15 inches wide, so I'm going to cut 2 of these. So I'm just going to cut this to 30 inches, and then we're going to run a groove right down here on my router table. So our next step is cut a groove or a dado all the way down this edge of the board using this 3/8 inch straight cutting router bit. We're going to go about 1/2 inch deep. We're going to do it in steps, so we're not going to try to do the whole 1/2 inch at once, so we'll do it in steps. And then once we cut that 3/8 inch, we're just going to kind of adjust our fence table and sneak up on that 7/16 because we want that board to slide right over this edge. Just like that, and it's going to come about 1/2 inch over, and it'll be a tight fit. That'll give us a place to screw our Lexan to hold this frame together, top and bottom. So I think I'm going to just rip this board about 1.5 inches after we're all done, but that's going to be our last step. The next thing to do is go ahead and cut this groove all the way down this board on our router table. Okay, so I've set my height at about 3/8 of an inch, so we'll make our first pass. Okay, so I've raised my bit up to 1/2 inch so we can make our next pass, and I haven't moved the fence. So I've moved my fence back just almost 1/16 of an inch. We're going to run this through this way, and then flip it over and run it through this way, and that should get us right where we need to be. Okay, let's see how we did. Okay, that's a nice tight fit, so that's going to work out great. And we also have a little bit of standoff from the top of the dish that gives us some air movement underneath that piece of Lexan, so that's going to work out great. Our next step is to cut this to width, and I'm still thinking maybe 1.5 inches, so we're going to rip that on the table saw. Then we're going to cut it to length for the 15 inches. And then, as soon as my Lexan comes in, we'll be able to mount this up and show you how it all works. So I've cut my end pieces down to 15 inches and just slid them onto the dish, and I've marked where I'm going to drill my holes for my hardware. Now this is a hardware that you're going to need right here. Everything is going to be in stainless steel. You need some number 10 finishing washers, which will give you that kind of look there at the end. You're going to need number 10 24 by 2 inch machine screws. You're going to need a pack of flat washers, also number 10. You're going to need some number 10 by 24 nylon lock nuts. Now, I'm not going to tighten this down because I want my Lexan to move a little bit under the expansion and contraction that it's going to go through. So I'm going to snug them down, and then I'm use some thread locker just to ensure that they do not loosen up. And we're going to drill them with a 7/32 drill bit. Now on my Lexan, I'm using I think I'm going to use 3/16. I've got a piece of 1/4 inch also, but I want to use 3/16. I'm using Lexan or polycarbonate versus like an acrylic plexiglass because it's stronger, it's a lot stronger, it's easier to drill without cracking, and it's easier to cut. So I'm going with the Lexan polycarbonate. And the way I'm going to cut that is with a table saw using a carbide tip blade, rip blade to cut it down. Now there's a lot of ways you can do this. The internet is full of how to cut this stuff, so just get out there and look. But I'm going to use my table saw, and that is the next step. So I did wind up using a piece of the 1/4 inch Lexan. It's just a little more rigid, and I think it's just going to be more durable. But I also had to add a little spacer right here halfway down on either side, a 1/4 inch piece of that Lexan, and I just super glued it right to it. So that makes it nice and rigid across here. All right, well that's it folks. I just hope I'm never going to have to use it, but I think it's going to be great protection for this expensive little dish in the event of a storm or fallen branches or hail. So I'll see you next time on Safe Travel.